Hello, everybody.
Wildcat's about to join.
Hello, hello. We're bringing in all of the channels. We're bringing in the channels.
I'm trying to come in.
Hello, hello. Oh, here we go. Are you in, Monica?
Not yet.
Oh, I accepted you. Let me try again. Hello, hello. I'm trying to bring Monica in.
Here, let me exit and I'll come back.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello. We're trying to bring Monica in with Wildcat. Here we go. Try this again. Hello, hello. Sarah, hello. Thank you for joining. Hello.
Hello to LinkedIn.
Hello, Dummy Fresh. Hello to LinkedIn. Hello, everybody. We're trying to bring in all the...
Michael's in.
Oh, hello, Michael. Everybody needs a Michael in their life.
He says, now we see you. It says, hello from Southern California.
Oh, hello, California. Hello, everybody. We've got people joining.
Do you see me? Does anyone see me? No? Let's try again.
Are you in?
No.
No? Okay. Bear with us for a minute. We're trying to bring in all the channels. Hello, Michael P. So we've got Twitter,
YouTube,
LinkedIn, Instagram. We're trying to bring Wildcat in here.
Let's try this.
Let's try this again. So bear with us a moment, people. Okay, let's try this again. There's a lot happening at once. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining.
I can try from this phone. Let me try this one.
Here, I see you again. Bear with us a moment. We're trying to bring in all the
I'm gonna try for this one.
all the channels. So we've got our Twitter friends. I guess it's not Twitter.
X.
I still call it Twitter. We got our X friends and our LinkedIn friends and our YouTube friends over here. And then we've got our Instagram friends over here. And we've got Wildcat and Tanya that we're combining. Okay, let me try this. There. Oh, it says unable to join.
I wonder why.
Well, give us a moment while we make a few tries here. So you keep trying.
Keep talking.
And I'll keep talking. So we're over at the Purse building and in beautiful downtown Dallas. You can see it's a beautiful day. It almost feels like spring, but I don't even know if it's not even fall anymore, right? Is this considered winter? Oh, hello, hello. Thank you for joining.
There we go.
Yay! We're connected! Oh, you're about to come in. Hold on. Oh, there's Monica! All right. Okay. Hello, hello. Okay. We are set up. Okay, let's see here. Do I need to... Sorry for my face so up and close. I know it's like a really... Woo! It's close, people. Sorry about that. It's up close and personal. Let's see. Do I need to downsize or do you need to downsize?
You have to down.
It does. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining, everybody. Hello. Oh, hello. Mr. Ed. Mr. Ed Winslow in the house. We're working out a few kinks here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Sorry for my face so up here and close. So welcome. So hello. Thank you for joining us. So we are over here in beautiful downtown Dallas in the historic Purse Building. This is our first time doing this. So far, so good. I don't want to jinx it. We had a few test runs at the office last night, the night before. We started out that we were doing it on Instagram. And me being very ambitious, told Monica, if we're already doing it on Instagram, maybe we should add all these other channels. So this is, we're a little technically challenged at times. But man, Monica, boy, talk about being organized. We're on freaking LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. So how this came about is we're marketing. Well, first, a little bit kind of a background. My name's Tanya Ragan. Hello. Thank you for joining. Hello. My name's Tanya Ragan. I'm president, owner of Wildcat Management, and I own a building called the Purse Building. Confuses a lot of people because those that follow me, especially on my personal channel, they follow me a lot for fashion, what I'm wearing to work, how I dress as a professional. I like a lot of purses. I collect purses. So they hear me talking about this building called the Purse Building. And they think, why does she have this building called the Purse Building? Is it because she likes purses? I get that question a lot. No, it is called the Purse Building. Coincidentally, the purse is the last name, the Purse family, of a very well-known Dallas family that operated. Are you all getting an echo? Are you okay? Okay.
You can just hear it.
Okay. The Purse family operated a very well-known furniture warehouse and furniture store from the 1920s up until 1990. Oh, a little bit of an echo. No echo. Tell me if you're hearing an echo. So the Purse family operated these stores all over the city that were furniture stores called the Purse Company Furniture Stores. And this building was their main store. And they actually manufactured furniture on the second through the sixth floor. And on the first floor, they had a retail store that faced Elm Street. And people would come from all over the city to shop at the Purse Company Furniture Store. And the business and the building was owned by the Purse family, multi-generational up until the third son, James Jr., I guess the third James, who operated it up until they sold the building around late 80s, 1990. Hello. Thank you for joining. So a lot of people know the building as the Purse Building, especially all the new people that have moved to our downtown, because on the side of the building is this huge ghost sign that is a landmark on the building, that is the original advertisement and original sign that is ghosted and says Purse Company Warehouse, and Purse is in big letters. So people call it the Purse Building because of this big purse sign on it. So people who've moved downtown or new people, they don't even necessarily know the history of the building or know that it was a family or know, the background of the building. They just know it as the Purse Building because it's a cool, old, interesting building with this fabulous sign on it that says Purse. So coincidentally, I bought the building in 2017. I'm the first woman to own the building. I happen to be in fashion. I happen to love fashion, have a background in fashion, like purses, and I own a building called the Purse Building. So that's the history of how I came about and how I own this building called the Purse Building. So the Purse Building's located at 601 Elm Street. And for those that are unfamiliar or fairly familiar with Dallas, downtown Dallas, Elm Street has been experiencing a revival. And I hate to use the word revival because I feel like we're past all that. But Elm Street in particular, the last, I would say 6 years, just before 2020, Elm Street started experiencing the massive redevelopment. And what's so interesting about Elm Street is it's the last major thoroughfare street to be developed in our downtown, but it has all been redeveloped sort of simultaneously, where we have three major streets downtown. We have Commerce, Main, and Elm. And Commerce was sort of the first street where you started to see some development. I would say probably early, maybe 2000s. And then came Main Street, which kind of was real choppy. And at that time, the city was kind of like, hey, what do you want to do? Whatever. Downtown was a bit of a ghost town after, hello, thank you for joining. Downtown was kind of a ghost town after 5 p.m. This is probably circa 2005, 2006. So, there wasn't really a lot of thought that went into Main Street and how everything connected or how, what that plan. There wasn't really a lot of intention, I would say. People probably wouldn't like to hear me say that, but it's the truth. So then the last is Elm Street. And what is so incredible and amazing about Elm Street is Elm Street now just very, very intentional. So whether it's on the east side of town, where you have the Epic and the transformation along the eastern edge of downtown, coming west with the Thompson Hotel and the National. And then as you go west, you have the Purse Building, you have the County Building directly across from us, which I'll show you in a few minutes, that just went through a $200 million redevelopment, and 1,000 employees moved in, are relocated to that facility. So Elm Street has sort of all happened together. And so Elm Street is just very, very active. And Elm Street also serves as the main traffic thoroughfare to get to the interstate when you're leaving downtown. So as you pass the Purse building, you are 2 lights away from being able to get on any major interstate to go any direction in our city. So Elm Street is very, very important street in our downtown. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. So the Purse building sat empty for decades. And hello, hello. Thank you for joining. I purchased the building, Wildcat Management, which I own. I purchased the building in 2017. And at that time, all of the projects that I had just mentioned along Elm Street were not even in motion yet, or had not started, had not been completed. You know, the National and Thompson, that just got completed in the last couple years. The Epic was just prior to the pandemic. They were not yet either in motion or had not started, certainly had not been completed. So this building I purchased in 2017. It had been empty, boarded up, and vacant for a long time. And one of those reasons why was because I think people didn't know what they were going to find when they came in and did the abatement, or when they started peeling back all the layers. Also, there was speculation. You know, we were not in the situation we are today with all of the development and everything that's happening downtown. So clearly there was also some speculation. So I purchased the building and I went through a 2-year period. Hello, thank you for joining. I went through a 2-year period of evaluating the best use, going through the process of applying for state and federal historic tax credits. Because the building is historic, I was able to apply for historic tax credits to help finance and monetize the construction and help make the economics work for the completion of the project. Now, those tax credits have not been exercised. Any work that's been performed on the building to date, the clock has not started. Any of the improvements could still be utilized as part of the credits, but they have not been, the clock has not been started and they have not been submitted. So about 18 to 24 months, submitted all of the applications, all of the historic information, all of the background on the building, and ultimately were approved for both state and federal tax credits. And the state allows for 25% reimbursable tax credit, and the Fed allows for 20% reimbursable tax credit, which ultimately comes to around 45% reimbursable tax credit on construction costs that are applicable to those tax credit allowances. Also during that time, make sure I don't lose you here. Also during that time, we worked with the city to apply for a City of Dallas historic tax abatement. which allows for a 10-year tax abatement on the city sales tax for 10 years, which also has not been exercised. Give a few waves here. Hello, hello. So that's sort of a little bit of background on the incentives with the building. So around 2019, we began the process of going through and performing all of the abatements. We performed all of the demo. We stuck, I would say, somewhere a little over 2 million to 2.5 million into the property and performing all of the abatement and the cleanup, and essentially took it back to the original shell, where we exposed all of the brick, we exposed all the beams, we took it back to the original storefront. And when we started peeling back all those layers, the building looked like it had been left in 1990. It was last occupied by the county for a short time, and it had drop down ceilings, carpet, very typical of what you would find in 1990. And we essentially took everything back to the bones. And we found the original 120-year-old floors, pine timber. We exposed all the beams, the 14-foot, 15-foot ceilings, and took it back to shell. So flash forward, we go to market it, we get a tenant, and then the whole world shuts down. So flash forward to today. And today our city is in a, hello. Today our city is in a very different place, Dallas. In the last 2 years, our city approved through bond a brand new $3.7 billion Dallas new convention center. That convention center is 3 blocks from this building. If you go directly across the street, you go straight down, you run right into what would be the new convention center in 2029. We also are across the street, which I'll show you in a moment, from Dealey Plaza, which is where 4 million visitors visit a year. So it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to move, sorry for the face up front. So we are on a very, very active corner. So just behind me here, that corner, just behind me, is actually Dealey Plaza, where JFK was shot. And the Purse family has a very interesting story, how they were standing outside these front steps, waved at Jackie O and JFK. The entourage went by. JFK was shot at that corner that you see just behind me. And moments later, the FBI entered this building, and this building was the operations center for the FBI immediately following the assassination of JFK. They took over all the phones, they took over all the desks, and they operated out of this building. So 4 million visitors walk by our front steps a year to visit that corner. And as you go upstairs, which we will, you can see that corner from all of the windows. So really, really interesting history. And that view that I just showed you from our front steps, that if you cross the street and go straight, you will run into the new Dallas Convention Center. Also, in the last 2 years, we have Goldman Sachs, and we've had the financial migration, especially from New York and the East Coast, that have moved to Texas and come to our city. And Goldman Sachs is building an 800,000 square foot new headquarters that would be the home to 5,000 employees, 8 blocks behind us. So here we are today. You flash forward. Dallas and downtown is experiencing so much happening. And, Monica and I sit over here and we'll be in the showroom and we're looking out the door and just looking at all the people walking by and think, man, what a fabulous location. And earlier this year, around February, I started the process of doing a new assessment of what the best use would be of this building. And I brought in my architect. I brought in my financial guru. And we started analyzing and started building a pro forma. And ultimately what we discovered is that the best use for this building today, hello, we got Mr. Michael Nass. Thank you for joining. Long time no see. Hello. Thank you for joining. We started evaluating the best use and determined that today, most likely the best use would be a boutique hotel because of all of the people that walk by this front door and because of everything immediately outside these steps, and or a headquarters for one of the many financial groups that are relocating to our downtown. And, if you're relocating, why would you want to go to a high rise on Elm Street and be in a big old building where you are lost in a sea of how many stories when you could take the whole building on Elm Street, be in front of a major stoplight on a major feeder going on every major interstate in our city, on a one-way with signage where anybody coming down, anybody, a visitor, a local, coming down Elm Street to leave our city or get on the interstate and have prominent signage, just the marketing and advertising alone for an anchor tenant. I mean, the volume and value of that, incredible. Why would you want to go in a big old building when you could be the anchor tenant and have that kind of visibility? So ultimately, we completed this pro forma probably about, I'd say 3 or 4 months ago, and determined that the numbers worked. So made the decision about 6 weeks ago to put the property out for sale. So here we are. So, hello. Thank you for joining. So, most likely, buyer is an international or out-of-state buyer. It's somebody who's wanting to enter this market. We recognized that last summer when we started organically getting inquiries, both for this building and other property that we own downtown Dallas. We own a block just on the other side of the new Dallas Convention Center. It's the largest block that's currently available, ground up, buildable. And organically, when we were getting contacted, I said, you know what? Let's throw it out there. So we start getting inquiries. And I thought, how do we start showing people what this building looks like? Which brought us to this live. So there's a lot to unpack here. So I know I'm kind of rambling. Do I have any questions so far?
And people that are joining us from LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, can you see Tanya?
Yes, LinkedIn, Twitter. Can you see me? Monica told me to talk a little bit because sometimes it can take a few moments for people to see us, people to join in, people to remember or pop up. So this is an example of the pro forma that we spent the last several months putting together. I had a tax credit expert, somebody I've known for, he may be on here. Hello. He's the best. He's done probably most of the historic hotel projects downtown. Most of them. And he can tell you if I can claim this. If I can claim this, it's included. Also brought in the food and beverage expert. And I think what really surprised me the most was the potential for the food and beverage for this location because of the unobstructed roof. So from a location wise, we're in an area that has very strict height restrictions and the roof has completely unobstructed views. So from a hospitality standpoint, there is a need downtown for more destination type food and beverage, especially with really fabulous views. And you look at the few locations that currently exist, whether it's the waterproof at the Statler or whether it is a couple of the concepts at the National. The Statler is very, very difficult to access in out. The National, fabulous. It's one of my favorite places to take people. Also can be a little difficult from a valet standpoint. Where the Purse building is actually really lays out wonderful for a valet, for parking, for access along Record, for an entry along the eastern wall, and the rooftop could be a major generator. So we're looking from a hospitality at potentially around 106 rooms. And I think if there's no questions, hello. Thank you for joining. Are you interested in Are you all interested in me starting to walk around? What do y'all think? Do you have any questions? Do you want to hear more about what's happening downtown Dallas? Do you want to hear about any of the construction of the Purse building? Do you want to hear about any of the use? The total construction for the hospitality use is somewhere around 25 million. Now that was an extremely conservative number We have since been able to make some savings on that, or find some savings on that, by adding some tweaks to the layout. We did do a full rendering layout. This kind of shows along the eastern side what windows could look like, where we would have windows on both the eastern side and, of course, on the western side, allowing us to lay out the rooms with fabulous views of the city and of the JFK site. Certainly a hotel user will want to tweak this in their own design. I am a lot of things, and I've certainly gotten very, very educated on hospitality, but I am not a hotel developer. I can do retail. I can do office. I'm working on a mixed use project. Yes. Could you give us a tour? I'd like to know about tax credits for hotel use. Yes, let's do a tour. Oh no, both UPS and Amazon just pulled up and blocked our fabulous view. So the tax credits, based on, one of them is leaving, the tax credits based on a $25 million construction cost and around a $12 million purchase price, we've determined that the tax credit value would be valued at somewhere around 13 million. So what that means is that essentially that 13 million could either be written off internally if you are a large, either institutional, REIT, a large developer that wants to bite off that type of write-off. Or often those tax credits are sold to help provide capital and finance the construction. And most recently, I have had those conversations with buyers of tax credits. And most recently, as of last week, that's how recent I've had these conversations. I have been quoted 90 cents on the dollar value of those credits. And that's high. And that's way higher than I have personally seen in the time that I've owned this building. So if you were to utilize those credits for financing, 92 cents on the dollar could potentially be used for mezzanine or for lending needs. And the way the tax credits work is they are 25, 25, 25, and then prorated over 5 years. So once you begin to exercise them. So I hope that helps answer the question. And I'm happy to dig a little more into detail if there's additional questions about that offline. Same thing with the 10-year tax abatement. Once you exercise that, and the reason I have not exercised that is the most value for that would be when the project is completed. When the building is completed and it goes on the tax records for the completed value, and you exercise that 10-year or those 10-year savings on the city sales tax. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. Welcome, welcome. So we are downtown. I'm going to attempt to take both of these. Sorry for my up close and personal face. So here we are. You can see we used to actually operate an office out of here just before the pandemic. And we had to stop because after the pandemic, I like to say that it was like being in the zoo. Everybody wanted to get in to the space. So we'll see if I can balance that there. Sorry for my up close and personal face, people. This is what you call winging it. So you can see behind me, this is Jane Jacobs. She's our mural. This is Elm Street. Shall we walk outside? I'm going to attempt to hold both of these. Bear with me, people. I don't want to lose the internet, so I won't go out too far. People are getting a nice close-up of my face. So if it starts to get spotty with the internet, let me know. So directly behind us, that is a historic landmark. What's so amazing about that is you never have to worry about anything being built to obstruct this amazing view. That is actually John Neely's cabin, which is one of our founding forefathers. Hello. This is downtown Dallas behind me. That tall building there, that is the Bank of America. You've probably read a lot about that. That was just approved last week for a what, 300 million? 400 million? The city just last week approved a $400 million tax incentive to completely redevelop that. That is about a block from us. On the very next corner, you can see kind of the corner there, what looks like, Monica, do you want to give it a little point for Dallas County School? See where the white little awnings there behind me? Behind me there. Oh. See behind? Right there. See Monica's point? That is the Dallas County School System. They are currently doing a $500 million improvement to go along with the Dallas Convention Center. They have a major hospitality division, and they want their students to be able to take advantage of the Dallas Convention Center. So there is $500 million going into the Dallas County schools. And just adjacent to that, there is a $200 million residential and retail development going up as we speak. They're actually getting ready to break ground in the next 2 weeks. So just on this block alone, you've got almost $1 billion worth of development happening currently within 2 blocks. And then you've got almost $4 billion, 3 blocks over with the convention center. And then I don't know, you can't really see Reunion. It's just behind the records building here is where there is a complete new district being built by Hunt Realty. And this across is where 1,000 employees moved in a year ago for the county. That's where you go to get your driver's license, your passport, pay your taxes, get your marriage license. Hello. That's okay. So as you can see, a lot of activity right here at the Purse building. All right, we're going inside. Sorry for my close-up. So here we are. I'm going to set you all down. How are we doing so far, guys? Oh, goodness. This is called winging it. Winging it. Okay. Here we are on the first floor. I feel like I need to do a little tap dance.
Okay.
I did take tap dance lessons as a kid.
You did?
Yeah,
I didn't know
for
that.
like 8 years. This is
What?
like the shuffle ball change. Shuffle ball change.
I didn't know that.
So, this is the first floor. You can see we took everything back to shelf. We've got the original pine timber hardwood floors that we stained, refinished, and took to natural. Yes, we're good. Just to kind of highlight what the space could look like. We opened it up, painted everything white on this floor. You can kind of see this kind of gives you an idea of kind of where we started, how it looked. Of course, the association with JFK. We came in, we peeled everything back. That's what it looked like on the first floor. What do you think of that? Look how dark and dreary it was before we finished those floors. We back up to the Dart. The Dart actually is real nice because if you are, let's say this was a hotel, you can get on the Dart from the airport and take the Dart downtown. It drops off about 2 blocks away, and you can walk to this location and walk to the convention center. And currently, I spoke with Visit Dallas about a month ago, and they actually have more conventions on the books than they have available rooms. So I wish y'all could see the traffic coming down the street. I mean, if you had a big old sign out there, anything, company headquarters, hotel. I mean, you literally, I hate to say it, but you have people captured right here. You have them captured. They're forced. They're forced to see you. Should we go upstairs? Let's go. Okay, I'm going to attempt to take the stairs. We do have an elevator at the back, but I'm going to take the stairs. So let's go. How are we doing? Any questions? This is what you call rogue. Do we got Mo out there? How am I doing, Mo? How am I doing? So there is an elevator. I move really, really fast. I always have to take the stairs. It's a running joke. I run up these stairs so fast, I'll be on the 3rd floor while everybody else is still on the 1st and 2nd. That's what you get when you live downtown and you're really used to just walking. So I'm going to give you a few floors because each one's a little different. So here we are. And I feel like I need to turn this around. So we're going to turn this around in a minute. But natural light. Okay. Hello, hello. Hello, friend. Thank you for joining. Let's give a little turnaround view. We got Instagram. And we got, how do I turn this one around?
The camera.
There we go. Now this floor is a little more raw. Each floor is a little different. But check. I mean, whoa. Are you ready for this, people? These views are freaking incredible. So Monica, I'm going to have you give a little point. Do you see the Omni Hotel over there? You see that? Whoop. Whoop. See the finger over there? Oh, you can't see it on this camera. Whoop. So if you see the Omni, right, come down there, whoop. Right there, it says Omni in the distance. That is where the new convention center is going. So you can see from walking, this is your corner right here. And you walk straight shoot to the new convention center. This is your historic landmark park, John Neely's cabin. No obstruction. 100 years, I'll be dead and gone. This will still be here. Elm Street, all of this traffic is going to the interstate. That over there, you can kind of see, whoop, I'll go over here. In the distance is our county courthouse, our original old county courthouse. It's now a museum. And that building there is where all the new county employees now office. And then over here, that, my friends, is where JFK was shot. So 4 million people a year walk by our front steps and go to that corner. And then just on the other side of us, if you want to point, Monica, is the 6th floor museum. I'm sure you've all heard of that. The 6th floor museum is just before you get to that stoplight. That is the 6th floor museum. So imagine these are your views, either as a office, headquarters, or as a hotel. Now the floor plate, each floor plate is, hello friend, thank you for joining. Each floor plate is around 10,000 square feet. And then there is a roof and a basement. So let's go up. You ready, Monica? Oh, she's having so much fun. She just can't contain herself. One thing about it, in this business, right? What I love about real estate, what I hate about real estate. Every day, you never know what you're going to get. So you can see this view, very white. Everything on this floor is painted white. What's interesting here, you see, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'll show you when we get up the next floor. These floors, you can tell, this is what the floors look like on the first floor before we finish them. So we peeled all the layers, the debris, the carpet, the glue, the wood, to find the 120-year-old floors. And then we finished them on the first floor. But before that, they look just like this. Pretty incredible. So if you were a hotel or an office, you would have all these exposed brick, exposed beams, brick. And what's super amazing is this building being 120 years old, all pine timber. It's so freaking strong that you don't hear anything. So like our office, we office about 8 blocks away. We walked over. You hear noise, you hear dart, you hear sounds. It's so amazing. This old building, it's so quiet. I mean, they don't build like this anymore. I don't hear anything. Okay, you really got to see this. This is my favorite floor. My favorite floor. It's a little dark on this floor this time of day, but you get the gist of it. So, are you ready? I mean, fabulous. Look at this view. You ain't gonna believe this. Here's the convention center. You see the Omni Hotel. There's the park. There's the old red courthouse. There's the county building with all the employees. That building directly across from us, that's the federal building, all the court system. Get a lot of attorneys. If you're in a trial or you're going to court, you're sued, that's where you're going. So certain times of day, there's a lot of people moving around here because, well, they've got some sort of issue. So what's interesting over here, you've got an interesting mix. There's JFK's site again, you see tourists down there now. Lots of times you have people down there selling flyers and selling memorabilia or some sort of tchotchke. But these cars are going through, you can kind of see in the distance there, the interstate. Once they get through this stoplight, you can access every major interstate to go anywhere in our city. And then this building directly across the street from us, this building is an office building that's being converted right now to multifamily. So you've got this building being converted to multifamily. You've got this building with 1,000 new employees. You've got the convention center directly across, $4 billion. Now you can finally see Reunion over here. You can kind of see Reunion. See that ball up there, kind of in the distance? That's Reunion Tower. And from Reunion Tower, right there, I don't know if you want to point, Monica, Reunion Tower, that ball up there, all the way, see the ball up there? Oh, there's a ball up there next to the courthouse top. You see? There we go. The ball right there, all the way to the convention center, is a new district, major redevelopment by Hunt Realty, where they are building retail, residential, all sorts of master development right there. So we've got that development. And then we've got over here, you can see the county school in the distance. See the little symbol on the school? That's the 500 million development improvements. And then just across the street is where there's a several $100 million multifamily and retail going in to serve the students population. So trying to unpack all this in our emails. What? Oh, you did? I've got them in my briefcase. Poor Monica, she forgot the keys to the rooftop. Do you want to take the elevator? So she's running down to get the keys. So you start adding it up. You can imagine, we get these inquiries from California, New York, international, and we're going back and forth with emails. But there's so much happening that unless you are visually here, trying to unpack it all, it is just so much happening. Not only in our city, but completely around both the Purse building and completely separate around 1823 Katie's. And I didn't even start talking about the Mavs Stadium. For those that are new here, the Mavericks are moving. They're terming out of their lease of the stadium over at the American Airlines, and they're looking for a new site downtown Dallas. So there's a lot of discussion about where that's going to go, and specifically how that would look being near the new convention center, because the convention center which I just pointed out is 3 blocks away, is going to have residential. It's going to have retail. It's going to have hospitality. The wings, the women's basketball, the WNBA, is also relocating over there from Arlington. So it makes sense to have the teams near all of that. So hello. Thank you for joining. Hello. Do I have any questions out there? Any questions for me? Anything I can show you before we go to the roof? So we're on the 5th floor right now. The building is a total of 6 floors. It's got a rooftop and a basement. In our performa, we show the first floor as a bar and restaurant. We show the rooftop as a destination bar. We show the basement potentially as a speakeasy, but also as operation for a hotel. And for a office headquarters, you could still utilize the first floor for some type of retail. I mean, there is a definite need for retail over here. When you start looking at the growing residential population, the office workers, now because this is a low-rise building and it is a little bit more on the neighborhoody side, being on the edge of our core, there are some neighborhood bars and restaurants in the area, but there's a definite need for retail. That is a big ask. Whether it's a wine bar, whether it's a coffee shop, whether it's a light grocer, to pick up small items and needs. I've even heard things like daycare. The operations guy over at the county was telling me that they had, believe it or not, they had like 50 babies born this year at the county. And they've got all these women that work there and all these children with all the employees across the street. And, they don't have things in the area like dry cleaners, coffee, and daycare. And that's where our downtown is we're experiencing so much growth that we need some of these things to support the growth. Hello. Thank you for joining. Hello. So where are we at now with this building? Well, we're marketing it. We put it on Prepsy. We put it on LoopNet. We threw it out there, I guess, a little over a month ago. We've been heavily marketing it. Hello, my friends in California. We've been, marketing it for sales, especially now that we've done the performa. We know that it pencils. We know the economics works. We've got all of this development happening in the area that we can show that supports the use. But if it's a out of state or international buyer, how do we get this in front of them? And, when we're having these conversations and they're trying to see the inside, or we're going back and forth, this was an avenue that if we do some of these lives, and they won't all be this long, this is sort of our first one to test run this. And I'm looking for feedback, criticism, critique. Do I move too much? Do I talk too much? Is there certain things that you want to see? This is our test run to, work out our kinks, to shorten up our pitch. So we're going to walk this way. So this gives you an idea of the floor plan. This is kind of cool. I'll try not to drop the phone down. That would not be good. Yes. California should move to Texas. Low cost of living, no sales tax, high incentives, business friendly. I like to tell people I got here as fast as I could. You know, they still kind of call me an outsider, but I tell people I just got a head start. So here is the back. You can kind of a little bit hear the dart. So dart goes by, whoop, hands are getting a little sweaty. Dart goes by behind us here. That is the new Holocaust Museum that just opened, God, maybe 2 years ago. It's beautiful. A new architecture firm just moved into the building just behind it. And we have a brand new parking garage. You can kind of see it in the corner there that has a surplus of parking. So the parking needs here are a combination of valet to the side of us, and it is fully sprinklered. Valet to the side of us. We didn't take you out there, but there's a curb carve out over here. So valet to the side of us. Parking garage just across the street. And then parking will be along this wall, just adjacent to the building with an entrance. And this wall is where I showed you the drawings that will have windows and have light, which I can show you when we go back down. But I mean, whoa. The light in here, I mean, we've had a lot of photographers. We've had what, Monica? We've had proposals in here. We've had photo shoots, music videos. So interesting enough, this building is so special that we've had several college students that specialize in architecture and historic design write their thesis on this building because of its incredible history. And when one of them in particular, we've probably had what? I don't know, 6 to 8 that have done the thesis. And we had one of them that it's her favorite building downtown, and she now works for Merriman, which is a special architecture firm who actually does the architecture work for this building. But they've done more historic buildings than anybody else downtown, and they've done several hotels, including this famous Statler Hotel, where interesting history is where Tina Turner fled Ike when he beat her up. So that's got an interesting history too.
Stayed there.
They did. I mean, what's with me with the history? JFK assassinated Ike, beat up Tina Turner.
Queen Elizabeth stayed there.
Queen Elizabeth stayed there too. Okay, be in the dark history. But Statler is also a beautiful, wonderful hotel, and Merriman did the architecture there. But back to the gal that was proposed to, who's now married. So she did her thesis on this building, and then she went to work for Merriman. Well, her boyfriend at the time contacted the office and said that this was her favorite building downtown, and he wanted to do a proposal here. So I wasn't in on it, but Monica, Michael, and the team were all in on it. And they came in, they had little lights, they had flowers, and they had this Michael, you don't know Michael, but Michael loves to we love Michael. He likes to be in on everything. So they came by and Michael happened to be outside and he said, "Oh, would you like to come in?" So they came in for a tour and he had it all set up. They came upstairs on one of these floors with all the beautiful light just at sunset. And there were all these flowers and he proposed to her. And then they went to the roof, which we're going to go to now. And all of her family were there. And they had a photographer. And they took all these amazing photos. So incredible moment with the Purse building. Hello, friends. Hello, hello. So that is the story of the proposal of one of the gals that did their thesis on the Purse building, who came back and her now husband had this massive proposal planned in the building. So that was pretty fun for the team. Okay, let's go up to the roof. One last view out here. We had a few latecomers. I mean, there you see the convention center in the background. You see the county, 500 million redevelopment for the school. Got the county building behind us. Let's go up. Oh yeah, that is a cute story, right? We have a lot of cute stories. We've had people all over the country that have contacted Monica that have learned about this building and wanted to come explore it, write stories about it, do their thesis on it. The Purse family, I think that's probably one of my going to be one of my favorite memories on this building, that when we completed the building, the first phase in, I guess that would have been January of 2020, the Purse family, the kids who are now in their 70s, I suspect, they contacted me. This is the last floor. I'll just give you a little peek. These have original tin ceilings, and this floor is a foot higher. So it doesn't photograph real well because of the nature of the tin, but in person, it's actually really, really beautiful. So before we go to the roof, the Purse family, they contacted me in January of 2020 and wanted to come see the building. And it was the first time they had been in the building where it looked like they had remembered. When the county occupied it, it was fully covered with carpet and drop-down ceilings and very dated. So when they came to see it, it looked how they remembered. Beams exposed, the brick exposed, the floors exposed, it was all clean. And it was very emotional for them. And it's going to be one of my best memories of this project. I don't know if they're on here. Adele, if you're on here, give me a little wave. She does follow us on the Purse Building socials. But they shared with me that their father, which would have been, I guess, the third son, right, had passed away, I believe in October and November that previous year, and that he had been reading about the project. He'd been following in the news. He had been keeping the articles and keeping such close tabs on the fact that 30 years later, somebody had bought it and they were developing it and they were keeping the name. And our whole story is around the Purse building. And they came and visited. They brought pictures of their father and James Sr., which we have downstairs on the wall. They brought the family crest and all these little photographs. And it's such a wonderful memory that's probably going to be my favorite memory. And it's things like that. There's another building that I had the opportunity to be involved in that we moved brick by brick. It's on the southeastern side of town. And in that particular case, it was previously a bank. And someone from the family that owned the bank back in the early 1900s contacted me, and they sent me some of the style checks and some of the old artifacts from the Liberty State Bank. which I also have. So it's those kind of things that are they're pretty cool. So let's go to the roof. Me and my stories. That doesn't really have to do with selling the building, does it? Um, okay. Close and personal with my face, people. Oh, goodness. I'm going to let Monica get ahead of me. So we can go to we do keep the roof locked because we don't want anybody to accidentally keep it open and have some little critter friends flying around here. Because then Michael has to he has to figure out how to get them out of the building. She does not like very much. That's only happened a couple times. I don't want to jinx it. It's been a long time, like years. Okay. Oh, I gotta set this up. Because I gotta surprise y'all. Okay, you ready? Dun 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 dun. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Is this a view or is this a view? I'm a little blinded when I first come out here because the sun kind of catches you a bit. Totally unobstructed view of downtown Dallas. There you got the Dart. See that down there? You got Bank of America there. 400 million. Redevelopment just approved by the city of Dallas. We got the county across the street. $500 million redevelopment underway, improvements. We got new apartments and residential going just on the other side over there where it says West End. I don't know if you can see that. West End Square. New apartments and residential. We got the Omni Hotel. That's where the new convention center's going. We got Reunion Tower. Reunion Tower to the convention center is where Hunt Realty is doing their mixed use development. We got the convention center development. Jack Matthews, Mike Hoke, miscellaneous. We own a block from the convention center east, just on the other side of the county building. Hundreds of millions of development. And then we got the Goldman Sachs headquarters. You can kind of see it in the distance there. Do you see the crane over there? Just on the other side of that white rooftop. I mean, there's a lot of cranes. There's several cranes. But there's a several story new construction over there. If you see it, it's about 8 to 10 blocks away. That is Goldman Sachs' new headquarters. 5,000 employees going to that location. So you start adding it all up. We're talking billions within blocks. Pretty amazing. And then you've got height restrictions over here. So you don't have to worry about anything being built to obstruct these views. Now this is a flat roof. We can build a small 3,000 square foot structure at the back here that will meet the setback requirements and restrictions to put some sort of small structure up here for a bar. but it will remain flat as a rooftop style deck, either for a office and or a hospitality use. But I mean, I don't know any views downtown. I mean, south side on the Mars, pretty amazing. That's on the other side of downtown. Statler's good on the other side. That's more on the southeastern side of downtown. But man, wowza. Woo! Okay, I'm going to set this down. I'm going to turn y'all around and we're going to go downstairs. I couldn't tell if there were any questions because the sun out here is so freaking blinding. So let me see if I can even, I don't think I can even see this to turn around. Let's see, I can see that one to turn around. Woo! Woo! Blind. Okay, let's go downstairs. Excuse me while I squint. It is bright up here. Woo! That rooftop, it is what, 88 degrees today? Yeah. It's hot on that roof. It's a cooker. Oh, whoa! Girl looks a hot mess. Girl looks a hot mess. Okay, let's walk across the sixth floor. Woo-wee! Hello, friends. We still got people joining us. Hello. You just missed the rooftop. You'll have to go back and watch the live. We'll probably post this maybe for 24 hours. We won't keep it up because we want people to contact us, and sometimes I'm a little unfiltered. So I'm a little unfiltered. Okay, so I'm going to go down one floor, give you one last shot, the windows, and then we'll go down to the first floor and wrap this up. How does that sound? Hello, friends. Thank you for joining. Whoop. Do we have any questions? Any questions, Monica?
Just comments on the view of downtown rooftop.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the views in this building overall are like, I'm going to tell you, we've been spoiled. Michael's been up here. He's had 4th of July on the roof. He's had New Year's on the roof. Michael, who's our project manager, this is really his building. It's not mine. That's what I tell people. This is his building. I just talk about it. Okay. He's done all kinds of fun things over here. Okay, one last view, and then we're going to go back to the first floor. Are you ready? I just want to show this to the newcomers because it's a doozy. Here we go. Doot, 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 doot. Sorry for the close view of my face. Okay, here we go. I mean, does it get any better than that? We got Old Red, Dallas County Courthouse, Museum. We got the Records Building. Recently renovated, $200 million, 1,000 county employees now office there. It's where you go for your passport, driver's license, pay your property taxes, marriage license. Very, very active location. We got a federal building across the street, judges, attorneys, court cases. We got the convention center. You see the Omni? $3.7 billion brand new convention center being built within 3 to 4 blocks from this location. Will be online 2029. We got Dallas County Schools right there. $500 million improvement project underway with a several $100 million retail multifamily development directly across the street to service those students. And those students at that school have a big hospitality program. The county college made the decision to stay downtown because of the new convention center and the opportunity for jobs internships, etc., with the new convention center. We currently have more conventions on the books than we have rooms available to meet those needs. What's so interesting about Elm Street and this location is not only do we have all these employees and people coming here for the courts, and then we got all these students, but then we also have all these tourists. So right here on this corner is the 6th floor museum. You can see some people still walking around down there, even though it's hot. This is the 6th floor museum, and where the X is, where JFK was assassinated. So the caravan that day with JFK, Jackie O, went by this building on Elm Street, turned this corner, and that is where JFK was shot. So 4 million visitors a year walk by our front steps of this building to visit this site. And this building, immediately after the assassination of JFK, the FBI entered this building. They took over the phones, they took over the desks, and they operated as the operations center for the FBI. So this building across from us over here, previously office, it is currently being renovated for multifamily. And this street, if you go just past this light, this is the major feeder to get on every major interstate to go anywhere in our city. So all of these cars are, this is a one-way, go by the Purse building to feed onto every major highway. So there you go. This is a historic landmark across the street. It's a park. It is John Neely's cabin, our founding forefather. It's also a historic site, but you don't ever have to worry about anything being built there. All right, I'm going to turn you around and we're going to go back downstairs. And let's turn this baby around. Okay. You guys are getting up and close and personal with my face. There is an elevator at the back. I tend to like the stairs because there's something like, I don't know, I feel like there's something romantic about going up the stairs. Okay, so we're going down the floors. So each floor right now looks a little different, but you've got the natural patina on the brick. So, you know, there really isn't necessary to do anything with the brick. You can leave it all exposed, show the natural patina, show how it naturally looks. I'll kind of show you over here. You can see it's got some of the natural look of it. It's pretty cool. Trying to show each camera. Pretty cool. I mean, this light. The best photos, I mean, when we used to take photos over here sometimes in the early days, best natural light. Talk about a happy space. You know what? If you go to work in a space that feels good or stay in a hotel that's interesting, I know for me, when I travel, I love to stay in cool spaces, whether it's in the Nomad neighborhood in New York, whether I just got back from Vancouver, we stayed in a cool historic hotel there. What was it called? The Douglas, I think. I tend to make names up sometimes because I can't remember. Let's go one more round outside so we have some newcomers. If you just want to open this door. Let me give them one last scan before we wrap this baby up. Oh, hello, friend. Hello. Thank you for joining us. So here's our last view outside. We got Bank of America behind us. Whoop, getting a little crazy with you all on LinkedIn on that side. We got Bank of America about 1 block east of us, just approved for 400 million redevelopment. We got the county school. We got the county school behind us here. We got the historic park landmark there. County Records Building. Dealey Plaza, where JFK was shot. I feel like I'm saying that a lot. It's kind of dark. Not gonna lie. New Convention Center. You go to this corner, walk straight down, 4 blocks away. And this is the entry to the Purser. There's Monica. Give him a little wave. There's Monica, the girl that makes it all happen. So there you go. And now that you've seen upstairs, you can see how these floors look after they're finished. So the floors were identical to upstairs before we finished them, and then we just painted this floor white. And from a restaurant, I mean, wouldn't it be cool to be sitting here and you can look outside, see all the people walking by on this busy corner, going over to Dealey Plaza. There's a lot of movement along Elm Street. Just sit here, have a drink, have a cup of coffee. So, and then this is the showroom, which would be a retail spot right on this busy corner. So, whew, that was close. Sorry about that. Close to my face, people. So, there you go. Hello. So, got a few people joining. So, that kind of concludes the tour. So, here's a little rooftop view. So, we talked about the tax credits. We talked about the city abatement. We talked about the various uses. Got a little glare there. The sun. Oops, sorry about that. It's that time of day. We talked about the construction costs. We talked about the let's turn this off a little bit because there's a lot of sun coming in there. We talked about, sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to get we talked about over here. There we go. That's better. We talked about the architect renderings, all the development in the area. Is there anything I missed that you'd still like to hear about? Anything else you'd still like to hear about? Anything I missed? We talked about, what else was on our list?
Someone asked if the windows are historic.
The windows are not historic. So the windows and the storefront, we did when we did the first phase, we took the storefront back to the original. So we removed everything that was on the facade that was attached. It's the original columns. We researched and had a historian take a little fleck of paint, study it, and tell us what the original color was. And believe it or not, it was this black color, which I'm not a big fan of. It's We have to clean it constantly. It's hard to keep clean, but it was the original. So that's what we painted. So, but the windows are not historic. So when the county last operated out of this location, 1990-ish, they replaced the windows and they are not historic. So that is a big construction savings. You do not have to worry about doing anything special preservation wise with those windows. All the abatement has been performed, except there is some asbestos around the sashes of the windows that we have not taken care of. That would be cleaned up at the time of probably replacing those windows. There's nothing wrong with the storefront. You know, initially we thought that we would do something with the storefront, but actually I think once we painted, cleaned it up, and removed everything, I think it turned out pretty well, but that's up to somebody else. Somebody else might feel differently. Same thing with the renderings. I mean, you know, look, in order to market this thing, I had to show or need to show that it works. So I made the decision earlier this summer to bring on the food and beverage guy, bring on the tax credit consultant, bring on Merriman to evaluate this thing on my own expense to show that it works and what a performer would look like. So, but you know, I recognize that's just a starting point. Somebody else might have a different idea. What else? Any other questions?
Given the historic status of the building, what other types of alterations to the exterior would be allowed?
You are not really allowed to do too much to the exterior. The windows on the eastern side, we are submitting now to NPS to add the windows based on examples of other buildings that have done something similar and where we can install the windows within the mortar and within the pertaining wall that does not compromise the structure in the building. Beyond that, anything that was historically with the building at any time, you can argue or that you can show. For example, the building in the early 1900s had strong advertisement placement. It had advertisement along the sides of the building. It had advertisement on the roof. It had advertisement along the facade. And going back to the 40s, 50s, there is documentation of such that shows the signage and shows the marquee and shows that historically this building had that. So that's where, you know, an anchor tenant or something hospitality, you know, could essentially put something similar because that was there at one time.
Question was, does the name state of the building, is it tied to like the building historically?
Historically, the building is on the National Registry as the Purse Building. Now, if you want to come in and open a hotel or do something different here, you certainly don't have to call it the Purse Building. There are buildings throughout downtown that are called different things. Actually, we have one in the West End that is called the AWOL Building. We have one that's called the Landmark Building. We have one that's called the Mosier Building. A lot of people don't even know the one that's called the AWOL Building. They don't even know. When I refer to it as the AWOL Building, people look at me like they have no clue what I'm talking about. Actually, even the new owners at one time, what the fuck is the AWOL Building? The owners didn't know that it was called the AWOL Building. So you certainly don't have to call it the Purse Building. That's up to you. If the new owners do not want to keep that name. What else? Any other questions? Was this interesting? Was this helpful? I'd love to hear your feedback. So, we've been getting these emails and inquiries, and honestly, it's been exhausting trying to follow up with everybody and trying to communicate, even just from a development standpoint, what all is happening with our city. I mean, talk about on fire. And then, in light of everything that's happening around the country with the elections and with, probably the ramped up migration with relocations, financial capital, etc. I've been downtown almost 20 years. I've been very, very active in the revitalization of downtown. I've served on commissions. I've served on boards. I've been involved with different policies, different RFPs, different business organizations, advisory boards. There's not much downtown that I have not touched in some way over the last 20 years. So I know a lot of the history, and, communicating what all is happening, it's a lot to unpack. So by doing some of these videos, even about some of our different investments that we're marketing for sale, I think is an opportunity to share the story. And even some of the investments and some of the projects I'm involved in that maybe aren't for sale, but I'm looking for partners, whether it's capital partners, whether it's partners that I'm looking at breaking all of pieces of it. I've got a project right now that I'm working on that is a mixed use project that is got a lot of various components. It's got a single family component. I'm having conversations with various builders about coming in and fighting off various blocks of that development. I am not a single family builder. I can come in and I can put the infrastructure in place, and I can go through all the entitlements, and I can design the concept, the experience, the community, the community vision, but the housing component of it will be broken off. So, talking about what's happening in our state, what's happening in our city, and all these incredible opportunities, this is a way to share all that. And, I consider myself, wow, we just had a lot of people suddenly join us. This is obviously an interesting wave of time. 3:00. So I consider myself an entrepreneur. I'm not really a one size fits all. I started out in oil and gas. Then I did some garden office. From there, I dabbled in industrial, which led to some retail, to some historic rehab, into taking everything that I learned and kind of bundling it together. So, sharing some of the various different types of projects that I'm involved in. And look, I want to scale. There's a lot happening in our city. All right. Any other questions? So I think what we're going to do is, if you all would be so kind, we're going to leave this up for another probably 24 hours. If you will either DM us, first of all, if you're interested in the building, if you've got a buyer, if you're a buyer, if you've got a concept, we would love to send you some information. If you want to be on our email list, we will not be spammy. Hello. Very visible location right here. We get a lot of interest. I equate it to like being in the zoo. We're like the animals in the zoo. If we are not spammy, we send out like one email a week, sometimes one every few weeks. Sign up for our email list. DM us. We'll send you information on the building. I think next week we'll go to maybe 1823 Katie's. We might do this building again, but keep it shorter. If there's a particular time you think that works better, all you social media experts out there, if there's a time that you think is the sweet spot, let us know. And thank you for being here. Oh, hello. Hello. We love you. We appreciate you. Come to Dallas. It's the land of the opportunity. Thank you. Bye-bye.